What is going on, everybody? This is another challenge tutorial, and it is all about under promotions. Keep that in mind as we're going through the 10 different positions I've come up with. They are of my design, and they are of increasing difficulty. Under promotion just means that when you bring your pawn to the 8th rank as white or the 1st rank as black, that you turn it into anything other than the queen. So the knight, the bishop, and the rook is considered an under promotion. Before we kick off with the first position, if you notice anything different with the look or sound of this video, it's because I just upgraded from the Google Pixel 5 to the Google Pixel 6. And the aspect ratio on the 5 is 19.5 to 9, and on the 6 is 20 to 9. So you're not hallucinating, it is actually a difference. We are starting things off with a relatively easy one. We will give you 3 seconds to pause the video if you want to give yourself a little more time. 1, 2, and 3. The winning move is pawn to c8 under promotion to a knight, checkmate. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is pawn promoting to a rook on c8. If you were to promote to a queen, that would be stalemate since black has no legal moves. And if you brought it to a knight with check or a bishop, that is not enough material to win. After it changes to a rook, the black king has one move, that's a6, and we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is rook to a8, checkmate. In this position, it is white to move. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Proper move is pawn to g8, rook. Black only has one move, bringing the king to h7. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video again. 1, 2, and 3. Bringing the rook to g6 forces the black king to the corner on h8. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video again. 1, 2, and 3. Rook to h6, checkmate. It is white to move. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. If you tried promoting to a queen, black has the sneaky move king to b3, and that would prevent you from capturing the black queen. Because if you did, that would be a stalemate for black since they have no legal moves. So what you would have to do instead is promote to a rook. Even if you didn't capture the queen and you tried just checking the black king in another fashion, it would just be a draw game regardless. But by promoting to a rook, what happens is if the king tries b3 again, you can go ahead and capture the queen and finish up thereafter. If the king escapes to b5, you can capture the queen, and even if they tried trickery, like marching the pawn, you can easily bring your king in to stop it and capture and have a smooth ending from there. It is white to move. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is pawn to h4, because pawn to h3 will take one more turn to go to promotion and to checkmate. After h4, black's only move is king to a1. We'll give you 3 more seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Proper move is marching the pawn, and the king will go back to b1. Give you 3 more seconds. 1, 2, and 3. Proper move is pawn push, and the king will go back to a1. Give you 3 more seconds. 1, 2, and 3. Proper move is pawn push again, and the king goes back to b1. Give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, and 3. You have to promote to a rook, because if you promoted to a queen, it would be stalemate since the queen robs the black king of the a1 square. After you promote to a rook, the king goes to a1. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Checkmate on the 6th move is a rook to h1. If you originally moved the pawn to h3 instead of h2, you would have been able to promote to a queen, but after the king moves to b1, queen to h1 is checkmate, but that's 7 moves. In this position, it is white to move. Give you 3 seconds to go ahead and pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The only move that leads to a winning position is rook to c8 check. The black rook will recapture on c8, and it is white's turn again. We'll give you 3 more seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The best move is queen to a7 check with a sacrifice. Black's king is going to capture the queen. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Best move is pawn capturing the rook on c8, and we're going to promote to a knight. Black's king is going to go ahead and move to b8. White's turn. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The rook will go ahead and capture the queen on d6, and it doesn't matter where the king moves from here. You're going to go on to promote your last pawn to a queen, rook, or bishop, and that's enough material to end the game with a checkmate. It is white to move, and we will give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The only move which leads to a potential victory is pushing the pawn to a7, and black is going to reply with the pawn push to h2. I'm only going to have you make one more move. We'll give you 3 more seconds. 1, 2, and 3. The move is promoting the pawn. Now, we cannot make a queen because then black would make a queen, and we are unable to capture because of the stalemate. The black king has no legal moves. And by not capturing, that's going to give black the opportunity to do a threefold repetition through checks on your king in the next moves to come. Now, a rook also doesn't work because once they get a queen, you have no way to check. If you tried moving the king, your rook would fall, and more or less they're just going to take their queen and keep moving it along the h column, and you are unable to capture it with the rook because then that would be a stalemate. So the proper move is actually bringing it to a bishop. And once black promotes to a queen, we can pick it up, and we all know that a knight and a bishop is enough material to checkmate. It is white to move, and I do want to take a second to mention that I put a lot of extra time and effort into this video specifically because they are all of my design, the compositions, and they are original. For example, this position or puzzle, whatever you want to call it, you cannot find anywhere because I literally designed it from scratch. So we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The only move that wins is bringing the pawn to b8 with an under promotion check. Black is going to recapture with the rook, and we'll give you 3 more seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. Since the c7 pawn is pinned because of the queen, we can capture the rook with the a7 pawn and under promote with the knight and check. Black is going to recapture the queen, and we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. The winning move is pawn capture queen under promote to a knight on b8, checkmate. This is the only position that I did not compose myself. It is from a famous game from 1880, Wade vs. Alphonse. It is black to move, and I'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is pawn to g2, discovered check. And white only has one move. That's bringing the king to e2. Give you 3 more seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The best move is queen capturing the pawn on e4, check. And yet again, white only has one move, and that's marching the king sideways to the f2 square. It is black to move. Give you 3 more seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The best move is pawn captures the rook in the corner, promotion to knight, checkmate. Ain't that a beauty? It is white to move, and this is a puzzle that I've showed you guys earlier on a different video when I was celebrating 3,000 views on my channel way back in the heyday. And without saying too much, there are multiple different options for moves along the way, but it's just too beautiful not to show you again. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Starting off, you can either do the g pawn to g8 with a knight, check, or you can do c pawn to c8 with a knight, check. We're going to do the knight on c8, starting off for this demonstration. and black can capture with either the h8 rook or the b8 rook. So we're going to do the b8 rook here, and it is white to move again. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. I will mention that if you started off on the right-hand side with the G pawn, you have to finish up with those all on that side before you switch over to the other side. So here we have to capture with the B pawn to C8 with an under promotion to a knight. Since we started on the left, we got to finish up everything on the left. And here, the queen is going to go ahead and capture the knight. They also have the option to capture with the rook, but we're going to stick with the queen. From here, we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. You got to promote the G pawn to G8 with a knight. That's check. And black's going to capture with the rook. Like again, they can capture with anything on the back row. So they had the queen or the rook to capture. We're just going to do the rook. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and capture with the H pawn. And it doesn't matter here. You are also able to capture with the F pawn if need be. So that comes with check. And black is going to capture with the queen. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Finishes it up with the F7 pawn capturing the queen on G8, knight promotion, and checkmate. 5 consecutive knights under promotions.